Hello, my lovely friends. I know I am late to do this. At the time of this recording, the game comes out tomorrow night. I generally like to do this kind of thing a little bit earlier, but whatever. I thought I'd still hit you with my last-minute hopes and dreams for Pokemon Legends ZA. These are not really in any particular order. I'll just start going down the list. First, I really loved Arceus. I really loved the big emphasis on catching. It was just incredibly fun to run around all over the place, throw Pokeballs all around, to just catch huge masses of Pokemon, and there were all these like rewards and stuff for doing it. It was really satisfying. And I know that this game puts less of an emphasis on catching. I know this one is more about battling. And I mean, that seems to be like the consensus just all around. Like Arceus was about catching, exploring, that kind of stuff. And then ZA is more the battling. Battling was not as important in Arceus. That's kind of the focus here. But even though I know that that is true, I hope that it's still good to catch. I still want there to be a lot of reasons to do it. You know, I want the rewards for it to be really good. Like, I still think that it's such a fun part of the experience. I want it to still feel really worth doing, even if it's not as big of a thing. I still hope that it's a decent thing, because I don't know. I really liked it a lot. So that was the first thing. And then, so kind of the weird thing about this right here is that like the reviews are out, like the embargo has lifted, so people have already posted reviews. And technically speaking, there could still be stuff about this game that Nintendo insisted people weren't allowed to talk about. So there still could be secrets or whatever. It still could be that reviews don't tell us everything about the game. And I know, but I don't know, but I haven't really been reading a lot of in-depth reviews. I don't think any of them mention anything, any secrets. I know there are probably leaks going around and I haven't looked at those. Obviously I don't want spoilers. So, I think at this point, it's pretty safe to assume, as I talked about in a previous video, that what we see in the trailers is what we get. There's not really a lot about this game that will surprise us, I think, which is disappointing. But this is a hopes video, so I still have to just hope that we get some of the things that I have been hoping for this whole time. Just like a few more substantial wild areas. Just like a couple, you know, like in any given city, there'll be I went on the whole spiel before, but like there'll be at least like one park, at least one decent wildlife kind of area, sort of thing. Just like some. I know it's not going to be a lot, but something a little bit more akin to like a real park that feels a little bit more open, a little bit more natural, a more suitable environment for catching Pokemon. I'm fine catching them in gutters and what on top of cars or whatever. That does seem to be most of this, or in like, you know, it's a little grassy. There's like some trees here. Okay, sure, it's a little courtyard, but just give me some. Just give me like just a couple more substantial wild areas, even if it's just a couple. I'd be okay with that. Will that happen at this point? I'm doubtful, but whatever. It is my hope. We're talking about my hopes. And then, of course, again, as just been talking about endlessly, something that they haven't revealed yet. Some fun little secret, some kind of place to be or thing to do that is a little bit more visually interesting than just the city streets. Obviously, catacombs, that's the thing, that's the thing we keep hoping for. I know that even when I did put out that video that I did talking about how I think what we see in the trailers is what we're getting, we're probably not going to get anything bigger than that. There were some people saying that there were some screenshots going around that kind of did look like they were in sort of a sewer sort of area. But, you know, yeah, I don't want spoilers, so I haven't been, like, looking up everything about it. So it sounds like maybe there is something to do with the sewers. I don't really know, but obviously something big, a bigger sewer system or the catacombs or something would be really cool, even if it's just, like, at the end, even if it's, like, the last area that you unlock or something. It would be so cool, and, like, it would be such a wasted opportunity to set a game in a city like this and not utilize every element of a city that you possibly can. It's Paris. Like, do the cat, whatever. Already did all that. But yeah, again, there's another hope. Not getting my hopes up. The hope is not up. It is here with me. It is medium, or is that down? I don't know, but it's right here. But I still have it. What's next? The boss battles. You know, I got to play the demo, or a couple of demos at PAX, and it was the boss battle was very fun. And I mean, I loved the boss battles in Arceus. I think the battle system here is awesome. I think it's going to be even more fun. So I just kind of hope for a lot of them, you know, and I think there probably will be, because in Arceus you had like your main, these were like the legendary protectors of their respective areas, and there were like 5 or 6 of them or something. They were like the main bosses of the games. It looks like there are probably more here. These are just Pokemon that are, you know, suffering from some sort of like rogue mega evolution affliction or something. So it already does look like they're kind of setting the stage for something that can happen a lot more often. I don't know for sure though. So yeah, that is my hope, that this isn't just like, you know, 5, 6, 7 of these like main story things. I'd like a lot of them just because they're cool, and we have seen a good amount of them in the trailers, you know. So let's do more. Let's do a bunch. I just like, it's just fun. The battling in this game is just super duper fun. So give me a good amount of those. Here's a silly one. Generally, we like our games to have a lot of content, you know? Especially with Pokemon, if you're gonna cheap out on the visuals and the graphics and all that stuff, you're gonna rush this game out, then like, you know, at least give us a lot of content. You know, you could say that about Arceus. It was big. I played that game for like 150 hours or something. Like, I loved it. I played it so much. And even like Sword and Shield, or not Sword and Shield, Violet and Scarlet. You know, they were rough. They were really rough. It was really messed up. But if you enjoyed playing it, you could still get just so much playtime out of it. So I should want that again, and yet I don't got that kind of time. So what I'm hoping for is that the content is there. If you want it, people can get a lot out of it if they want. But like, I don't know, like the main bulk of the content, and especially like the story, I want to be able to get through the story in not too long. I don't want to have to play it for 100 hours to get through all the story. And yeah, that was the thing about Arceus. It was like, there was the game, but then there was like a really big post game that really had its own whole entire arc and led to its own separate final battle and everything. Like, it was just, there was a lot to it, a lot of like layers. And I'm kind of hoping now, can I get through the bulk of it? Maybe a couple dozen at the most. Even that, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can swing that. So yeah, not too long. And then on the topic of story, of course I hope for a good story, and I think it probably will. I have enjoyed the story of the last couple of Pokemon games. You know, I did not like the story in Sword and Shield. At the same time, there wasn't a story, really. There just kind of wasn't one. That was my problem with it. But I really liked the story in Scarlet and Violet. I thought it was really fun. The story in Arceus was really good. And so I have no doubt that the story will be enjoyable. But I think because the scope of the game is so different from Arceus, it really does feel a lot more confined. Gameplay-wise, I think confining the game to a city will, you know, kind of introduce its own new elements, and it'll have its own positives. But there is an element here where it's like, all right, well, Arceus was like a big grand adventure, and this kind of like the scope seems a lot smaller. I feel like the story is gonna matter a lot more. So while I'm sure it'll be fine, I guess I just hope they really go at it hard, you know? I'm hoping for like a really good story. Like, make me not regret that we are here in a city and it's got a bunch of people all over the place. Really utilize that idea. I mean, like, it seems to be a humongous cast of characters. Like, yeah, every time they do a trailer, it's just like, this guy, this girl, here and there, there's these, and there's this organization, and there's these friends, and just, there do seem to be a lot. So I'm just hoping for good things there. Only a couple more. I do recognize my my privilege as a Switch 2 owner. you know, like, I'm gonna play the game, and it's already guaranteed. It's already been verified. I played the demo myself at that thing. Runs great on Switch too. Doesn't look super good artistically, but the resolution is really high. Frame rate's really good. So like it runs really well. It's easy to forget completely that this is a Switch 1 game as well. You know, like even reading reviews, they're all for the Switch 2 version. So like, I even though I don't have to deal with it, I really hope it runs well on Switch 1. I hope so. I think that it will, because even if there were elements of Arceus that were a little bit plain, you know, like the landscape and whatnot, it didn't look as good as something like, you know, Breath of the Wild or whatever, but like it ran a heck of a lot better than Scarlet and Violet. I think that game really didn't run too poorly at all. It didn't have frame rate issues that were as bad as Scarlet and Violet. So yeah, the game could have looked better, but I feel like it ran okay. And here the environments, again, it's even more limited. You don't have these grand vistas. And from what we've seen of the footage when they first revealed the game, but before they revealed the Switch 2 version, it seemed like it ran fine. So like, I think I'm feeling hopeful that it will probably run fine. Not great, but not bad or anything like that. But I do still think it's worth having a slot here in my hopes list, that it will run well. Like, we don't want any surprises. We don't want it to be like, well, they didn't care about the Switch version. They prioritized Switch 2, so they just like, whatever, and it runs like trash. I don't think it's likely, but I really do hope that for anyone playing on Switch 1, that you still get a pretty good experience. You know, I think you deserve it. You know, part of me is wondering, like, it'd be nice to do videos comparing them. I'd like to do an impressions video of the Switch 1 version, but how do you do that? I don't want to start with Switch 1, because then I'm starting the game on Switch 1. I don't want to do that. I want to, like, play the game in the beginning with the better everything. Can you revert back? Can you, like, if you take the game and it's a Switch 2 version, but then you, like, game key, you know, like, or the whatever, like the virtual card thing, if you like send it back to your Switch 1, will it then just revert to the Switch 1 version? I need to find that out. If anybody has an answer there, let me know, because that would make that really convenient. I could just do that and then do an impressions video after the fact. Anyway, though, I have one more hope. For Pokemon Legends ZA, and it's that Feraligatr gets a good new Mega Evolution. I think I loved how in Arceus the starters got like basically new versions of the final evolution, like, you know, like regional versions or whatever. I think that was fun. I was sad to see that wasn't necessarily going to happen here, but I am sure that they're at least going to get new Megas, because yeah, that's the thing about Feraligatr. Feraligatr is kind of ugly. I don't really like Feraligatr that much, but and I know that I'm gonna get a Feraligatr. I'm gonna evolve it. I'm not gonna pull a Pikachu Ash here. I'm gonna let it evolve. I'm gonna spend most of the game with this final form, and that should affect my decision of which starter I pick. And yet, Totodile is just that good that I cannot pick it. I can't not pick it. I just can't. Totodile is like a top 10 Pokemon. So like, I'm gonna pick Totodile. So at the very least, I hope that Feraligatr gets a good, again, probably it's all been leaked by now. It's probably out there, and I could look it up and make sure, but that spoils the fun. I think one of the fun things about Pokemon, especially with like a new one, is just kind of grabbing whatever and seeing what happens. That's part of the experience. You got to live with what you get. So here's hoping for a good one. I know often with these megas, they kind of address previous issues. Like with Dragonite, one of the weird things about Dragonite was that Dratini and Dragonair look a certain way, and then Dragonite kind of doesn't properly follow the theming. It kind of becomes its own new like thing. It's like Puff the Magic Dragon or whatever. And so the new Mega is like them kind of rectifying that. So I don't know if like, I don't know how popular the idea is that Feraligatr is a disappointing and ugly final evolution of Totodile. I want to say that's pretty popular. So is that the kind of thing that they would address and they give us like a cool version? I don't really know, but yeah, that is one of my hopes. Feraligatr deserves it. And you know what? Feraligatr, I think I can't remember if it was just a stylistic thing or if it's because they just didn't have enough room. I always assumed it was because they didn't have enough room for the letters, but like not having that E between the T and the R, it just, Feraligatr, it goes straight into the R. I mean, they were kind of ahead of their time because that was a very like Web 2.0 kind of thing, but like, they'll just have like a big E. The Mega will just have like a big E on its chest. The missing E that you robbed Feraligatr of. That'd be funny. So those are my last minute hopes for Pokemon Legends ZA. I will inevitably think of more right after posting this video, but whatever. We at least got something. Game comes out tomorrow. I want to stream it. I really do. I was sick a lot of last month, and I think my throat and my voice is still kind of recovering. It's a little scary. It's like it's even now, like doing videos, like it gets tired and sore really fast. So I have to go easy on it. So I'm not 100% sure yet if I'll be able to stream. If I do, I'll probably have to, in PRLO mode about it. But I hope to. I think it would be incredibly fun. I have never streamed a Pokemon game before, and every time I play a new Pokemon game, I always end up having like just all these fun little stories and wishing I could have shared it with someone, wishing I had captured it. So it would be really, really awesome to stream the game, but we will see. I love you. Have a good day.